Hi, my name is Barbara Britt, and I'm a culture strategist. And I love the fact that I'm able to come into businesses or with you on YouTube and actually help build your culture so that it can be at the peak performance and that everybody comes out there of that program feeling valued, feeling I'm going to have to start over again. Hi, my name is Barbara Britt, and I'm a culture strategist. And I'm so thankful to be here with you today because we're going to talk about why people need to have a diversity program. So let's get started. When we have a diversity program it allows us to have awareness. And I like to say this, and I want you to think about when I become aware of something, then I know and I can start doing something about it. And that's where we're at in our life. We talked last time about, how to get to that awareness process. But when we get there, so we're going to talk about some things today so that you can see about where you fall in line, or are you happy with where you're at? Is it something that's allowing your culture in your business to grow and develop? And remember, culture is everybody's business. So without awareness, if we don't have awareness, it is impossible to start a diversity, inclusion, and equity program there. Without the awareness, I really don't do anything. I might talk about it and I'll say, well, that we've been talking about, listen to how many generations we've been talking about it and we've not seen a lot change. So now we're in the part of our lives when we're in awareness. And once I become aware, I need to do something about it. That's what we're going to talk about today. Each person has their own level of awareness. Each of us. And it's something that we grow in, and we have to be intentional about developing. So this awareness of what my culture looks like in the business, of what I'm actually portraying, comes to us by the different roles that we play. So we're going to talk about some roles, and I want to see what role you are in, what you're doing, and how you're portraying yourself in that particular business. Well, this comes from a seat at the table. And I want to say this. We all have the right to have a seat at the table. So come into the program feeling that way. What can you bring? What are you going to do? So it's the P-SHOW method model that we're going to be using, and it's the PCIHO method. And what we're going to talk about is, first, is the pioneer. And I want you to see where you feel you fall in line with this. Pioneer is fully aware of the lack. Let's think about that, of the lack of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they're willing to take the lead and go out there and change it. They're willing to take that lead. That's not always easy. It's usually one person in your whole business community. One person, but they're willing to take the lead. So are you that pioneer? Are you that person that can take that lead? Now remember, if I take the lead and no one's following, then I'm not being that pioneer. So think about how you're going to get people to follow you. The next one is the champion. And they know there's a lack of diversity, equality, and inclusion in their business. And they want to help. They want to add value to others. That's in their heart. They want to add value. They want to join, and they want to push the initiative. Well, think about your pioneer and your champions gathering together. You have a team. Now, don't be under the conclusion that everybody's going to think alike. Everybody's going to dress alike. Everybody's going to act alike, because that's not true. We're talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity. People have a voice, and we grow when we acknowledge each other. And this is usually only a very few people, but that's all right, because when they join with the pioneer, then we can start movement going forward. The next one is your influencer. Now, the influencer doesn't have to be the CEO, doesn't have to be the HR person, doesn't have to be the manager or leadership. Your influencer, is it you? They recognize the problem, the influencer does. They rally teams. So we just think about the pioneer we had coming in there, and we think about the champions, and now we have the influencers, and they rally the team. You know how sometimes we just kind of flag a little bit, or we're not for sure how to do something? Well, that influencer, they rally it. They use their voice. They use their voice. They use their connections. They use their energy. They use their power. And so they can bring awareness of this to the whole organization. Most people at one time or another will fall into this. But that influencer is just keeping it going. The next one, sadly to say, and I hope we don't find ourselves in here, and the word with them is but. But. And when something goes but and follows, you know what I'm saying, is never good. And that's the hesitator. Either doesn't realize the problem exists or hasn't been directly affected by it. They haven't been directly affected by it. Well, equity. Well, it wasn't right that I did this, but it didn't affect me. Well, I want to tell you something. It affects all of us. It really affects mankind when that happens. So they realize it might be an issue, but they kind of, I'll just stay on the sideline and maybe it'll work itself out. It hasn't caused me a problem yet. And a lot of times, most people will fall into this. We'll fall away. If we don't have that influencer, if we don't have that champion, if we don't have that pioneer, then we'll all kind of sink down to that level. And then the next one is the obstructor. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, this isn't going to have an effect on us if we only have one or two of these type of people. Well, let's go with the obstructor. Doesn't believe that it even exists. They haven't seen evidence of it. They're not for sure if this is really an issue or not. Or why should we even be trying to raise the culture of our business? They don't believe that change is necessary. They don't even believe that change is necessary. And it's usually only one person. And they go, well, what problem could they cause? Or what problem could I cause being that person? Well, let me ask you this. How many of you have ever had the best bowl of fruit or the best bag of fruit, and it smells wonderful, and the apples are shiny and everything looks just great. And then all of a sudden you get this smell, or you pick up this beautiful apple and you turn it over only to find out the whole bottom half has rotted because one apple at the bottom obstructed the others from keeping right, healthy, and that happens. An obstructor, we go, well, there's only one. That makes a difference. Don't be that obstructor. And if you look at yourself and you're doing that, well, then give me a call. Let me help you out of that. Because you don't want to be that person, that one person that brings down that entire organization. And yes, it only takes one. And you can have that pioneer working as hard as they want. You can have those champions. You can have those influencers. But that person that obstructs growth, that muddies the water constantly, they can bring a whole entire organization to its knees. And let me tell you, if you don't think that has an effect, when that organization closes down, how many people were affected? So I want you to think about the culture. I want you to think about your place in the culture. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to represent in here? When we're talking about, do you want to be that pioneer? Do you want to be that champion, that influencer? Well, we know one thing for sure. We do not want to be the obstructor. We don't want to be the person that waits for everybody else to make a difference. We have heard about this happening for years and years and years and years. Now, let's do something positive. Let's join with other people that are willing to step out and really truly make a difference. And it doesn't matter if you're the custodian, if you're the CEO. It doesn't matter. You can change the culture of your business, the community. You could change the culture of the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope that this has been a lesson that you're going to go out and utilize. Thank you.